RamiX back with another video. Hope you guys all enjoy today's video. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as it would be greatly appreciated. My current goal right now is to reach 14K by the end of the year. Whether or not I can do it, well, I guess that's just decided on you guys' support. So please share the video with a friend who likes with anime content or what ifs even, as that is what I mainly do on the channel. But I also do what ifs on my second channel, as well as discussion videos if you're interested in that kind of stuff. With that being said, we can now get into the recap. In the last part, we ended off with Naruto basically defeating Guy. This was not a fight where Naruto actually won. It was something where Naruto kind of just, got the win. Now, Guy had basically let himself up, and this is a base Guy, no gates, at least when Naruto won, as Guy let Naruto get one hit in, and unfortunately for Guy, Naruto used his strongest attack, something that he actually hadn't ever used before, but it kind of just came about in the match, as he was actually able to knock out Guy by slamming Guy into the tree. It basically caused a reaction that caused Guy to knock out, but not only that, but just the sheer damage was enough to basically get Guy to fall unconscious. With that being said, Naruto had been devastated, his will cracked. He had realized that he wasn't strong enough, and now he had a bit of a new Nindo. I guess you can't really call it a fully a Nindo, so to speak, but now this is his, I guess you could say, goal. Of course, his goal is to become a Kage, but he wishes to never let somebody decide his fate. Because Guy right there had the power to decide his fate. He doesn't want anybody else who he fights to have the power to decide his fate. He wants to decide his fate on his own. Now, with that being said, Naruto is now 8 years old. He is in the academy and is doing quite well, actually, as his chakra control is better than anybody in the class, and his smarts are above every other kid in the class. Even his IQ is better than Shikamaru, who in the main canon is a top dog in the Naruto universe. With that being said, Naruto, like I have been explaining, is no slouch. He easily does tasks that Haruka gives him, and usually just draws and writes down what he wants to do later in the day in a journal-like fashion. Not only that, but whenever he's given something to do, he completes it very quickly, almost as if he's using shadow clones to do it, or almost as if Haruka is in some sort of genjutsu. Of course, this isn't the case, but that's just what Haruka thinks when Naruto literally completes everything so quickly. Snapping fast. Like that, right? So quick that basically, where it comes to Naruto, it's done in 10 minutes, where opposed to the other people in his class, it takes 30 or even 40. I hope you guys get the picture that Naruto is an absolute beast in the academy, and he does everything like a prodigy. Now, there is one person in the academy that you guys may be thinking of, and he might be on your minds as I say this. Come on, say it with me. He's Uchiha. 3, 2, 1. Sasuke Uchiha. Now, what about Sasuke? Well, pretty simple. He hates Naruto. Why does he hate Naruto? Because Naruto is some boy from some random clan that he is not aware of. Of course, we know that he's from the Uzumaki and closely tied to the Senju. We know that dynamic. But of course, Sasuke doesn't know. So he's just some random boy from some random clan from God knows where, that showed up out of nowhere and is stronger than him, faster than him, better than him, more skilled than him, and just an overall better person than him. And Naruto was nice while doing it. It kind of showed Sasuke that even though, well, he was, mean, I guess you could say, just Naruto was kind and still better than him. Naruto valued friendship and was still better than him. Naruto's family was not massacred, at least from what Sasuke believes. And he's still better than him. This would cause Sasuke to be so angry that he trained his butt off, even you could say, as he would reach unimaginable levels. Now, I'm not saying he'd be even close to Naruto, but he would start to come into prominence. But unfortunately for him, all his training was for nothing. Naruto had showed too much promise and was immediately promoted to a genin after 1 month of being in the academy. This would break Naruto, I guess you could say, this would break Naruto's rival, or future rival even, you could say, will. Just like Naruto had broken when Guy, I guess, let him beat him, in a way, Sasuke's will would also be broken here. Just as he started to catch up, Naruto had leaped in front of him. For example, you're in a race with a friend. This is just an analogy, so you understand the picture greater. If you're in a race with your friend, I don't know, Jimmy, and you and Jimmy are, tied in speed, literally right beside each other, then Jimmy unleashes this speed you never knew he had and just kind of, gets super far in front of you. And it kind of is just like, yo, what? It's just like a bruh moment, if you will. And you're kind of just left there like, huh? What just happened? What the heck? You get my point? That's how Sasuke feels right now. With that being said, Naruto would basically just brush it off. He didn't care about how Sasuke felt, even though he clearly saw how he felt. Sasuke was grit his teeth when Naruto got something right, and Sasuke grit his teeth while Naruto was congratulated by the class for becoming a genin. Naruto would then leave the class, grabbing everything he had from the class and leaving, as he would be stopped at the door. Sasuke Uchiha stood in his way, a kunai in hand, and a dark look in his eyes. Naruto would scratch the back of his head. "Are you planning on using that kunai against me?" Naruto would ask. "Or are you playing ninja with, I don't know, Chojin Shikamaru?" "No. You know I don't play ninja, Naruto." "Oh, my bad. Well, what are you doing then?" "Pretty simple. I'm gonna fight you." Whoa. Hold it there. Cowboy. I'm not a cowboy. Stop playing games with me. Sasuke would then go to attack Naruto, as Naruto would quickly dodge. Naruto would then reach into his jacket, as he would pull out 2 kunai. Naruto would then ask if Sasuke now had the balls to fight. Sasuke was puzzled by what Naruto meant. Do I have the balls to fight? What does this kid mean? Sasuke thought to himself. Naruto would then speak. "I've read many books. It's kind of developed my personality." And this is where I'm going to trail off a little from the story and explain this. Maybe you don't understand, maybe you do, but this is an 8-year-old Naruto, and maybe you're wondering, why is he so proficient with words? Why is he talking so much different? Well, pretty simple. He's read a lot more books. He's I guess you could say pretty nerdy dude in a way, just a little bit. He's done many things that just shaped his whole entire views. He's much more mature. His body is much more stronger. He's much taller. He weighs a lot more. Well, not a lot more, but you know what I mean. He has more muscle, so of course he weighs a little bit more. And just stuff like that. So he's just a much more different person, and his ideologies are different. What he knows is different. He's much smarter, picks up on things more, things like that. Now, with that being said, Naruto would then tell Sasuke that now that he's picked up his kunai, now that he's attacked him with it, is he willing to go the extra mile? Is he willing to kill Naruto? Naruto would then stand in front of Sasuke, telling Sasuke that he'll let him get 1 hit, reminiscent of when Guy let Naruto get 1 hit. But Naruto was no fool. If he let his guard down, just like Guy had to him, then he could be knocked out, made a fool in front of the class. That could give the class the wrong idea, like this boy was ready to become a genin. Naruto knew he was ready to become a genin. He spent years training for it, at least 4. Naruto would then watch as Sasuke rushed towards him, kunai in hand. Naruto would then stab right into Naruto, as Naruto would laugh. Is this the best you can do? Stabbing into me won't get you anywhere. Sasuke's kunai was still in Naruto's body as he would grab it. Uchiha Sasuke, or Sasuke Uchiha, whichever order you would like me to call you. Why did you do this? My skill far surpasses you, though I must say you were getting somewhat close to Iruka's level. Iruka, hearing this, would raise an eyebrow when Naruto said, as he hadn't really been paying attention to what they were doing. Immediately realizing that a fight was ensuing, he would break it up, as Naruto would smirk. Naruto would then try to not be as cocky, as he would try to basically word something out with his mouth, telling Sasuke to train hard enough to beat him, as he knows that he can do it. This would only crush Sasuke even further, almost as if his, I guess you could say, lifelong rival was mocking him, telling him that he's not strong enough and should just try harder. And Sasuke wasn't about to do that. He wasn't about to just, listen to his rival. But with that being said, he would want to train. He would want to get stronger. As Naruto would leave the academy, he would say goodbye to everybody that he met there, saying that he thanks them for their presence. It was really nice having them all laugh at him, in some cases, but it was also nice to have some of them be his friends, like Choji, Shikamaru, and even the timid girl Hinata. Naruto would actually say this out loud, as Choji would say, "Anybody's a friend if you share chips." Shikamaru would then say that anybody's a friend if you play shogi together, and Hinata would sit there, putting her fingers together in an awkward way. Naruto would then walk out of the class, looking back at Iruka and saying that he thanks him for all the work that he gave him, even though none of it benefited him in any way, really. He was thankful that Iruka put in the time and work to give him work in the first place. Naruto would then leave as the class would go silent. Clapping for Naruto they all would, except for Sasuke, who stood there quietly. Iruka would walk over to Sasuke, asking if he was alright, as Sasuke would attempt to punch Iruka in the face. Iruka would quickly dodge, telling Sasuke to calm down. This is not the time for games. Iruka would then grab Sasuke by his hand, applying pressure to the joint that is on your hand. This is actually a form of something known as Hapkido, as he would basically then slam Sasuke into the ground, as he would basically just flip him, showing Sasuke that he wasn't even close to Iruka's level, whereas Naruto clearly outclassed it. Now, with that being said, we now switch back to the perspective of Naruto. Naruto would just chill. He had just been promoted to a genin, and he really didn't know what to do. In the morning when he woke up, he had a letter. The letter stated that due to the fact that he graduated so early and nobody else has graduated yet from the academy or has been accommodated enough to being a genin to actually get him, I guess you could say, he had to be a one-man squad. So he would have to prove himself enough to actually go on his own C-rank mission, which would cause Naruto to spam D-rank missions. Now, we know that using jutsu is heavily looked down upon with D-rank missions, so Naruto would do this all on foot and with his own just, raw speed, raw skill, stuff like that. But Naruto would actually be able to do it pretty easily. He would be able to do these D-rank missions with almost no effort. These were things that came to him pretty easily. Chopping wood was something that he actually loved to do, as he was able to increase his strength a little, and even just short things like catching cats was able to increase his speed, and he actually took pride in being able to do D-rank missions. Eventually, Naruto would complete 40 D-rank missions, as Hiruzen, the Hokage of the Leaf Village, had no other choice but to actually let him on a C-rank mission. This C-rank mission would just be a casual C-rank mission where he was to survey a new village that was coming up. Now, a mission like this had potential for actually becoming a B-rank mission. That's why Hiruzen sent Naruto with another Chunin, who was much below Naruto's level, but actually still was able to, I guess you could say, fight Naruto. Like, if they were to fight, Naruto would win, but, like, this Chunin would be able to keep up. With that being said, they are on, like, relatively the same speed, so, like, this is a good person who's with Naruto, as they would basically serve in their village, and nothing was really too suspicious, except for how their ninja system acted. Basically, they had something where it was kind of like a Jonin is not actually a Jonin, and instead somebody who's as strong as a Jonin is, rather than a Jonin, a Chunin, and somebody who's as strong as a Chunin is, rather than a Chunin, a Genin, so on and so forth, where a Genin would actually be like an academy student, which is very interesting, and Naruto remembered to note down. He also realized that there was small amounts of powdered bags littered around the village, and whenever somebody would open one of them, rain would start to fall, which was quite interesting to Naruto. Not only that, but he heard rumors that when opening these bags and when rain falls afterwards, sometimes it can bring a bad omen or like bad luck and stuff like that. But besides that, Naruto would basically understand that the village was just like any other village that was coming up. But Naruto would also remark, with his Chunin, actually teammate, figuring this out, that the land is quite different. It's structured in a much different way than any other piece of land with like a village on it is, and it's kind of stationed in a way where it comes up on a cliff instead of actually being flat landed, because Naruto and his teammate, who we'll give him the name Kinto, not Shinto, like the girl who Naruto met in the library, but instead Kinto. Kinto had actually figured this out by realizing that they had actually not been on flat land, and that slowly it just arches up, so it feels like it's on flat land. If that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't, maybe it does. With that being said, Naruto and Kinto would then return to the Leaf Villages. They would be congratulated by Hiruzen, who would congratulate Naruto on his first C-rank mission. With that being said, we will now have a time skip of 4 years. Naruto's been training in these 4 years drastically, learning many new jutsu and many new tricks under his belt. And now, let's get into it. Let's get into the techniques that he had learned. Naruto now carried around a sword instead of his chakra blades, as his chakra blades were now like a secondary weapon, if that makes sense. Actually, sometimes even relying on kunai more, as he realized that in a heat-to-heat situation, sometimes just using a kunai instead of funneling his chakra through his chakra blades and then using it is just a little bit more simpler, and it's more easier for him to do and conserves time. He's also able to apply a lot more force with it, sometimes adding a chakra nature like lightning style, as he was actually able to increase his like damage with his kunai, which makes it like equivalent to the chakra blades. With that being said, he still does carry around the chakra blades just in case he needs them, or lets his clones use them when he fights people. With that being said, he mainly carries around his sword, and it's just his primary weapon, like I explained before. Naruto not only has a new sword, but he also has weights now, weights that weigh about 500 pounds. Why did he get these weights? Well, pretty simple. Basically, he just wanted to kind of increase his speed and strength. Now, what do I mean by this? If you have weights on, you'll slowly get faster. We saw that with Lee. Immediately, he takes up his weights, he gets faster. Basically, Naruto just wants that. He wanted to surpass his limits even further with something that would be able to do it. Not only that, but Naruto now has the Fireball Jutsu, the Fire Phoenix Flower Jutsu, and another fire jutsu that I don't want to get into right now. With that being said, he also has the Lightning Style Lightning Tiger Jutsu, and a jutsu that he made himself, the Lightning Shadow Clone Jutsu, Style 1,000 Clones. And maybe or maybe not, you kind of get what I mean by that, and the move is basically self-explanatory. Naruto creates 1,000 clones. They all are supposed to detonate with lightning chakra, and it's basically, in most cases, a guaranteed win for Naruto, or at least basically one. Now, with that being said, His next lightning jutsu that he actually developed himself is known as the Twin Shadow Clone Barrage. Naruto sends Shadow Clones towards his opponent like a torpedo. See how both of these include Shadow Clones? Well, yeah. But with that being said, Naruto also has the ability to put lightning style on his blades and weapons, so it kind of works itself out. With that being said, his next chakra nature, wind style, is interesting because it kind of foreshadows, or I kind of tried to foreshadow that he would learn this jutsu in the future. I like foreshadowing sometimes, and due to the fact, maybe you caught it, maybe you didn't, but the bully who Naruto is fighting actually used the wind style air bullet, which Naruto now has, on Naruto to beat him, and Naruto now has that jutsu. Maybe you caught that, maybe you didn't. But in the first part, that is. But with that being said, not only that, but Naruto has also increased his taijutsu, getting much better at it, and he's much faster, much stronger, has a better understanding of the world itself and what he really wants to accomplish, and he's liberated many villages. He has also made a name for himself as Naruto the Invincible and Naruto the Cunning One. People call him this because in an incident that took place a few years ago, like 3, where Naruto was about, at this point, 9 years old, only being a genin for 1 year. He had went to a mountain where there was supposed to be a lot of bounties, or not bounties, my bad, bandits. Right now I'm recording this very late in my mind. My apologies. With that being said, there's supposed to be a lot of bandits there, and he did find the bandits, but there was also somebody else, and Naruto also saw a village here. Naruto basically defeated all the bandits and liberated the village, but then when he had to, I guess you could say, turn on the village, the villagers all labeled him as Naruto the Cunning One. But it's interesting because they didn't hate Naruto because Naruto saved them, but basically because of what the Leaf Village needed and because they found out some news that the village actually was keeping Leaf secrets and was allied with a village that the Leaf was against. Naruto wasn't actually sure if that village was like the Cloud Village or the Stone Village or yada yada yada, you get my point. But he did know that they were allied with a village that the Leaf Village was against and that they had secrets on the Leaf Village. Naruto was forced to actually burn the village to the ground, but the people there still respected Naruto for saving them, but also called him Naruto the Cunning One, giving him that name. In some places of the world, he's also known as Naruto the Great Swordsman and Naruto the Genin. Now, Naruto at this point has actually been making pretty big strides in the world. If you didn't understand just what I've been talking about and you didn't hear me, he's basically just been making strides in the world. Now, with that being said, Naruto would continue to increase his name, but something did happen that changed him forever while he was, I guess you could say, a genin, or while the time skip, in between the time skip of 4 years. Now, what happened exactly? Well, pretty simple. Something happened with he and Orochimaru, which resulted in Naruto getting the Izanagi and many Sharingan, as well as the ability to clone the same Sharingan. Now, I don't want to get too heavy into this, as I don't really want to spoil the next part, so this is just where I'm gonna friendly leave it off. But basically, where we're actually gonna leave it off is Naruto is now well, I guess you could say 12 years old, and he's actually still going to be put on Team 7. For what reason, you may be asking, as he doesn't have the worst grades, he actually has the best? Well, pretty simple. Because Naruto progressed so early, they didn't really actually count him as being, this person who excelled so quick, excelled in the academy and was, number 1. They just counted him as a student, causing him to actually have, some of the worst grades. Because this is basically what I'm trying to say. Even though he did so well, it was only a month. How many grades do you get a month in the academy? We don't actually know, but for this timeline, we're going to say you get, a report card each month. Now, with that being said, Naruto only got 1 report card. And even though it showed, a ton of A's for everything, it didn't matter if all the other kids, for example, if one kid gets a B for everything in every report card, and then Naruto gets an A for everything in one report card. The kid who gets B's in every report card and had all of his report cards is going to do better than Naruto, who only got one of his, which means that Naruto would still be the worst academy student, I guess you could say, or worst ranking, even though he was not even arguably, he was definitely the strongest there. Now, with that being said, Naruto would be put on the same team with Sasuke and would actually still have Sakura as his, I guess you could say, teammate. I don't want to switch that dynamic up, as I do think that in the story it's going to bring up a little bit, it's going to have a little bit of a big importance here. But with that being said, we are basically going to end it off with the bell test being explained, introductions happening, and the bell test starting, with Naruto rushing towards Kakashi. Hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. Make sure to just like and subscribe button. It would be very appreciated by me, Rami X. Check out my second channel down below. Subscribers that want to hit 14,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Whether or not I can hit it depends on you guys' support. And Rami X. Oh.